DDG is an artist who's been in the game for a long time, and while a lot of us may know who he is, it was only recently that he actually had the biggest viral song he's had in years, a song that many of you are well familiar with.
When I'm out of town, I be tripping, I be on one.
The song Pink Dreads was originally made on streamer PlaqueboyMax's live stream during the series that he calls In the Booth, where he essentially takes an artist and tries to create and record a hit song from absolute scratch in front of the entire live audience. Now, the songs don't always go on to go crazy, but this particular song was so well received by the audience that before it was even released, it had already made its way to TikTok, and within just a couple of days already had over 10,000 videos made, and by the time the music video dropped, it was basically game over. The song now has over 100,000 videos made on TikTok and 10 million streams on Spotify, with the music video reaching a couple million in just a few weeks, making it PlaqueboyMax's biggest song that he's ever produced, as well as DDG's first potential hit in a long time. However, neither of them could have possibly imagined how this amazing moment was about to change into something much darker. It was January 8th, 2025, when fans logged on only to realize that their beloved music video was no longer on the platform. Many were confused as to why, but absolutely nobody was more confused than DDG himself, who spent his time and hard-earned money investing into the song and making sure that it became as big as possible. It was at this point that he was then contacted by the person responsible for the song's takedown and was told bold and directly that if he did not fork over 300,000 USD right now, the song would never see the light of day again. The person responsible for this is none other than a man named Zach Hiller. This particular individual is a manager for one of the producers who made the beat for Pink Dreads, and he was not going to stop until he cut out the biggest slice of the pie for both him and the producer.
This white man right here asked for $300,000, bro. No, kid you not, I swear to God on my life. This asked for $300,000, bro. 300,000. I said, I will delete that for you. I will show you, I will send you the link. Matter of fact, I will hold your hand, bro. I will hold your hand like this and guide your finger to the delete button. Bro, the song ain't that big for you to be acting like that. And then your producer is a nobody. Let's be 100. Let's be honest, bro.
The only issue with this though is that the song has not made anywhere close to that much money. Not to say that it wouldn't have at some point in the future, but realistically, paying that much money for a beat, especially when it's not even the main producer of the song, is insanity. Not even Metro Boomin charges that much for a beat, and all this man did was legit add a few hi-hats and tweak the mix on a beat that was already made. And yet the main producer who actually made the beat himself is not asking for anywhere near that amount of money. And now that main producer, who has done nothing wrong, has to suffer due to this guy's bad decisions. But why was this a bad decision, some of you may ask? I mean, surely Zach Hiller was just doing what any manager would do, right? Trying to make as much money for his artist/producer as possible. But the truth is, there is not a single worse decision he could have made, because not only was the song en route to do more streaming numbers than it ever had before, but it was about to get a publishing deal from a record label. And for those of you who don't know what that means, I will explain in a moment.
So I put the song out, his producer already agreed, everything cool, boom, boom, boom. Guess how much money the producer asked me for in the beginning? $30. How did $30, bro? If I go on this man BeatStars right now, it's $30. He asked me for $30, bro. And to be honest with y'all, I don't have a problem with the producer. I really don't. I genuinely don't. I have a problem with this. This who I got a problem with. I've been talking on the phone with this all day. I'm talking about, we go back and forth. I get on the phone with him. I'm like, bro, look, all right, bro, look, cool, bro. We'll give you 3 bands, bro, like 3 bands, and we give you 2 points. The song just got on Rap Caviar. What the is you doing? We just started radio, goofy. Then gonna get a publishing deal. Y'all know how publishing deals work? Then gonna get a publishing deal. He gonna make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Bro, I'm like, bro, you're gonna get a publishing, your producer's gonna get a publishing deal off of this. You his career up. He like, no, we feel like it's not fair. We trying to get this money. I'm like, bro, what are you talking about?
A publishing deal is essentially when a record label allows an artist to keep 100% of the money that was generated from streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music, but instead they take a percentage of the money that was generated from things like the song being used in the movies, TV shows, advertisements, etc. This typically ends up being a good deal for artists because realistically, most artists don't have the resources to track the usage of their song off the internet anyway. I mean, seriously, how are you gonna know if some random bar or club across the world is playing your song on a CD or using it in the background for one of their promos? You're not gonna know. But the record labels, on the other hand, have enough connections and resources that this all gets sorted out and they make sure that all royalties are paid. So the artist ends up making more money from this 50% of the publishing than the $0 that they would have collected from those extra sources anyway. Pink Dreads was about to get this kind of deal, and realistically, it's the perfect kind of song for this type of deal because its main claim to fame is being used by other people. It's not some random song that only has streams because they threw it on a big Spotify playlist or botted the numbers. This song is being used in so many places that you probably literally cannot keep track of it. But as you can see right here in the messages from Zach Hiller himself, he genuinely thought it would be a good idea to take down the song and try to strong-arm the people who were responsible for the song blowing up in the first place into sending him hundreds of thousands of dollars. But surely he must have known that this could have happened, right? I mean, he is a businessman. Well, not exactly, because if we're telling the truth, there is some amount of truth to the perspective that he had. And in many scenarios, trust and believe he might have actually come out victorious. But there is a very specific reason as to why this case is so different and led to his decision ultimately having disastrous consequences. First of all, who is a manager to a producer? A manager is the person working behind the scenes with an entity in the music business, like an artist, producer, etc., who deals with the business side of things on their behalf so that the creative can focus on actually making music. Whether the manager is a close trusted friend or someone who's simply employed by a management agency to manage an artist, their job will always be to try and get the artist the best deals possible and make as much money as possible. Zach Hiller's logic in this screenshot is that since Pink Dreads probably generated almost $100,000 so far, DDG and Max would most likely be willing to pay the $300,000 to put the song back up because they knew that it would eventually make the money back. And surprisingly, as I said before, as crazy as it may sound, there are actually scenarios where he would have probably come out victorious by doing this. And that's because managers in situations like these are usually dealing with traditional record labels. You see, because record labels are massive financial entities that only care if they make back their money in the long term, if the label thinks for even a second that it will make back their money or double it or triple it, even if it takes 3 years, I am telling you, there is nothing that they would not do. This is because the entire game of a record label is to burn money on 10 different artists in hopes that at least one of them will become a superstar and make back all the money that was invested in those failed artists tenfold. Whichever record label you'd be strong-arming into a deal is already so rich that I promise you they will give you whatever amount of money you want if they think that they can remake that money in a year and triple it over the next 5 years. They do not care about making money today because they're in it for the long game. However, Pink Dreads was not released by some massive faceless corporation with millions of dollars and no emotion. It was released by two independent individuals who blew it up using their own strength and hard work. Which means if you piss them off enough, they have the full right and ability, in Jamaican terms, to tell you to suck your mother. Now, with that being said, as much as individuals do have emotions and egos that make them less likely to go along with this sort of thing, a person can still very well become a victim of extortion simply because they just don't have a choice. They need that song to put food on their table. But it seems like Zach did not remember that DDG is already rich, and PlaqueboyMax's main income is not even 1% from music. Maybe if DDG was some starving artist who was solely relying on this song to keep his name relevant and be his main source of food, then sure, he would have probably succumbed to the extortion and screamed and cried, but eventually did as these people asked out of pure fear that he would lose his primary ticket to fame. However, not only does DDG have an established rap career that spans back years, but he is literally pretty much a B-list celebrity now, considering his entire relationship with Halle Bailey and all the media attention he's received. So you tell me what business a guy who is basically as famous as some of your favorite actors and more famous than a lot of rappers has been extorted by some random nigga on the internet. I promise you, ain't nobody taking this level of disrespect over one song. It's like trying to use money to manipulate Drake to do whatever you want. It's literally Drake. If you genuinely fail to see that respect and ego will always play a part in business negotiations, and instead of treating those you work with like actual human beings, you view them as just walking checks, especially if you're the type to prioritize immediate financial gain over long-term success, you will ultimately fail. Because trust me, that song had the potential to make millions, and now it's gone. PlaqueboyMax is on one of the biggest runs of any streamer ever and will probably be on a similar level as Kai Cenat by the end of the year. This song being so integrally attached to his career meant that as Max continues to grow, so would the song. And this is better promotion in the world than anybody or any record label could possibly pay for. If Zach Hiller and the producer had just sat back and waited, they could have still been collecting royalties a month from now, a year from now, and many years down the line. But now they have nothing and are being witch hunted by the internet as shady individuals. But unfortunately, such is the game of the music business. And speaking of business, if you want to learn how this YouTuber managed to gain over 100,000 subscribers in less than 5 weeks, click the video on your screen right now to watch the video we just posted on the business channel. And as always, the dancehall, even though this one wasn't really about dancehall, but the music industry as a whole, has been decoded.